Welcome to the Vilest Rag, a podcast by the Ubyssey, UBC's student newspaper. My name is Elena Massing. I'm the Ubyssey's features editor, and I'm one of your hosts for today. Whoa, we have a secret special guest, except not secret, because he's right there.
Whoa.
Who are you?
I don't know.
What?
That's a tough one. No, I am Peterson. I am the Ubyssey's sports and rec editor. That's me, and I am also hosting this today.
Yay.
Which is weird and unusual.
Is it?
Well,
isn't podcasting like second nature for you, really?
I have been outed as a podcaster multiple times in the last couple of weeks. Yes. I have also been the host of a podcast that I think is now dead, but, you know, it's out there for people who want to see it.
What's it called?
It's called the Trick Play Sports Podcast. We're on YouTube and other platforms that have podcasts and such.
Awesome. I'm gonna go check it out. I actually have checked it out. So
opinions, thoughts,
I like it. I like the one you showed me where you're running into the ocean. That was fun.
That was a
very
classic.
Cinematic.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Ryan who got all those shots and made it something that was kind of lame look cool. It was fun. I did that in like the middle of December, so like probably not like a great idea for like my overall health going into like minus 20-degree waters, but like, you know, you do it for the bit.
Yeah. Could you remind me what the bit was?
Well, okay. To not go too far sports nerd here, it's because there was a random Thursday night football game that was happening like 3 years ago between the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders, and I don't even know what team I picked, but I was like, you know, if the Bears win this game because they were really bad, then I will go jump in the ocean. Like, that's how confident I am that the Bears will lose. And the Bears won. So
Tough.
For like a year, I had this weighing on my conscience that I said that I would jump in the ocean, and I kept putting it off. And then eventually I did, over a really stupid football game.
I don't think that's stupid at all. I think that's awesome.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to make you feel a bit better about yourself, I guess. Yeah, and you're here because we're doing something awesome. And by something awesome, I mean I'm next in the masthead order. So I am next to be interviewed.
You can't avoid it.
I can't avoid it. My name is there. It's in print. It's online.
Did you try to get that changed in the last print edition? Like suddenly move it down?
I tried to move it to the end, but no one would let me.
Oh my god, Spencer's
they
up.
Said, you can't just do that. You can't do that. So earlier this week, we sat down and we talked about my job, about ice sports, about a lot of things. But yeah, before we get into that, we should maybe take a look at the articles we've published this week.
Yes.
So, in news, for the fourth time in 40 years, the AMS AGM meets quorum. That was written by Isabella Ma with photos by Zoe Wagner. I'm sure it was the blue chip cookie giveaway that did this for them. But
yeah. I would do anything for a year's worth of blue chip cookies,
really?
Quite frankly. Yeah.
My controversial opinion is I don't like them that much.
God, your food takes on this podcast have been abhorrent.
Well,
can you not like value a good Marvelous cookie from time to time?
No,
like,
that's actually my least favorite.
How is that your least favorite? They have like the Ranger cookie, which is just like regurgitated oatmeal cooked in a pile.
Well, the thing is, my favorite one that I will occasionally get is the cranberry oat cookie.
What is up with that? That's horrible.
I think it's good. It's good. It's not too sweet. Sometimes I get the Smarties cookie, and then like a third of the way through the cookie, I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Why?
This is not my truth. It's just so sweet.
There is no such thing as something being too sweet. Like, it's a dessert. That's what it's for.
Well, I don't want it to be like that. I like a fruity dessert. A fruity dessert that it has a little bit of
fruit
tart.
is like healthy, and like that is the like complete opposite of what dessert is meant to be. Fruits and desserts. I think we talked about this on. Yeah,
we talk about this extensively multiple times in this
coming
podcast.
Back. It's a very strong opinion I hold.
Well, whatever.
Opinion.
Okay.
Speaking of opinions.
Speaking of opinion,
published an opinion this week. Another article from columnist Quyen Schroeder, their column Point of Inquiry. This column was on the AMS's SkyTrain rally, and how it was both effective, weird, and misleading all at the same time. Definitely go check that one out. Very interesting kind of in terms of how this rat, like, I don't know if anybody saw it or was there. It sounds like not a lot of people were actually there. But how that kind of could be potentially used as a blueprint going forward for the AMS to advocate for certain things, but also how they could potentially improve on events like that in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in my very own section, features, Rashmi Prakash wants us to talk about menstrual health without shame. So this is a profile on biomedical engineering prof at Ubyssey, Rashmi Prakash, who is currently in the running for the International James Dyson Innovation Award. I believe she's won the national round and is now up for the international prize for her design of a fully compostable menstrual pad, which is awesome. That piece is by Leanna Rysonen, if I didn't say that already. I very well might have. Also in features this week is Vancouver's arts and culture industry can run on duct tape and dreams, but it shouldn't have. Written by myself with photos by Sydney Shaw. I won't go into too much detail because I think we talk about this in our interview.
We do.
But yeah, I talked to a bunch of arts organizers and artists across Vancouver about the state of the arts in Vancouver and what it's like to work as an artist and how it is actually quite difficult to live in Vancouver and also be an artist. So more on that in that piece and later in this podcast. And in arts and culture, we have Time Will Tell Art Society brings African music and dance to the Ukrainian Hall. That is by Zoe Stoyanovich with photos by Raul del Rosario. And also Ubyssey Contemporary Players plays Music for Monsters at the Hatch by arts and culture editor Julian Coyle-Forst. Photos also by Julian. What a go-getter.
Whoa. Multi-talented.
Yeah, and that event was part of Artivism 2025, which is a arts and activism, who would have guessed, festival put on by UBC Exposure every year. So that brings us to...
Whoa.
Drum roll, please.
Sports and Rec.
Yeah.
What a great section of the newspaper. Fantastic, really, might I add. Sports and Rec this week, we were quite busy. We've done a lot. Because there was a lot of rugbying going on. The U Sports Women's Rugby Championship was this week at UBC, so every single game was at Thunderbird Stadium. We had 4 quarterfinals, 4 semifinals, 3 medal games. We have coverage for every single one of those games that you can find on the UBC website. We also have... one of the pieces that we'll highlight here is a very cool, kind of relevant to what we're talking about today with features. We have kind of a sports feature titled Underdogs No More, How 2 T-Birds Are Helping Redefine Rugby in Canada. That is by sports senior staff Maya Cesario, and the photos are by, I believe it is Sydney Shaw, Navya Chadja, and Zoe Wagner. 3 people on that one, which is awesome. The photos in that one are sick. Really cool story about how 2 Thunderbirds rugby players went to the World Cup to play for Team Canada. That's Florence Simons and Rachel Smith. Awesome story. Make sure you read that one. And then a couple more to highlight if you are looking for coverage specifically about how UBC did in the tournament. Spoiler alert, they won, which is awesome. Sorry. Okay, I appreciate the sound effect. This is good.
I don't know. We can't afford an actual soundboard, so it's my job.
We make do with what we have. This is okay. Anyway, that sound effect throws me off my game. Anyway, with how UBC did in the tournament, we have 3 articles. We have one for their quarterfinals, that one where they beat Laval. That one was written by sports contributor Ian Cooper, photos by Raul del Rosario. We have one on their semifinal win against Queens, which was an awesome game. I wrote that one. Also photos by Raul and Sydney. And then the Ultimate Game, the gold medal game that was written by Sofia Campanholo with photos by Zoe and Navia. All super great coverage, although I am very biased, but it is very cool. You can read all of those on our website, and then the gold medal game and bronze medal game and the sports feature are all in print.
Yay.
Woo!
And our print issue came out on Tuesday of this week.
Not for the people
Yesterday
who are listening.
Was Tuesday.
Yesterday was
us,
Tuesday.
But for them, Tuesday is 2 days ago. And
This is wild.
Those are the days of the week. But yeah, you can read all of these pieces and more at our website, ubyssey.ca, which is updated daily. But in this episode of the Vilest Rag, I'm sitting in the other chair being this chair that I'm currently sitting in because we decided to do a little swap for the intro, just to spice things up. But Caleb will be chatting with me about my work at the Ubyssey and other things. Other things that come up. Yeah. Cookie discourse.
Plenty of cookie discourse.
Yeah. So stay tuned after that to learn about why saying the Ubyssey has existed since 1918 might actually be a lie, explained by columnist Quyen Schroeder. Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
I know. Scandalous, isn't it?
But gotta rename the whole segment.
We gotta
like, I don't know what's gonna be.
We have to restart.
I don't know what's gonna be unearthed, but this might be the end.
You're actually fired.
Oh no.
But that's all from us for now, and we'll be back again after a short break.
Hello, everybody watching on the internet. If you've noticed, I'm not Elena. There's a different person in this red chair today, and that is because we are interviewing Elena today. Hello.
Whoa.
How's it going?
It's going okay. How are you?
Yeah. I'm great. I'm in the chair of power. Right. I hold all the questions. This is much better than when I was in the other spot. So,
why?
Well, because I know what's going to happen and you don't.
That's true.
You don't know all the hard-hitting questions that are going to come your way.
I really don't, except for the ones that are in all of them.
Who says I used any of those?
Wait, no! God, it's
exactly.
so over for
the Vilest Rag Chaos Edition. That's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, my first question. You're not going to hear this in any other ones. Or I guess I have to introduce you. This is, if you didn't know from all the other episodes, this is Elena Massing, our features editor, also the host of the Vilest Rag, and we will be here today to learn what she does at the Ubyssey. Probably should have done that first, but that's okay. We roll with the punches here. So my first question for you, how do you like the other chair, and how does it compare to this chair?
Oh, I have a very important connection to this chair. It used to be in like the sort of, I don't want to call it a hallway, but the corridor between this room and the cubicles that are in our office. And it was right beside the culture desk. And I had that desk for like 2 years. And people would come and sit in this chair, which kind of sucked because sometimes I didn't want to talk to them. But it also meant the chair was very easily accessible to me. So sometimes when I needed to take a minute and just, flop out in the chair, I could do that. It was right there. But now it's in this room. No more chair, bye-bye. But that also means that my desk is a lot quieter. So no one's sitting down and chatting when I don't want them to. Okay. But come and talk to me. I don't want to seem not approachable. I feel like I'm generally a pretty approachable
lost
person.
The approachability factor when the chair went.
God. I've blown it.
I have no reason to go over there
anymore. A few minutes
in,
and it's already over for me.
Window,
I've destroyed my reputation.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as the chair goes, like, really, what's there?
I go with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Is it comfortable, though? Like, is it a
so
good
comfy.
Solid chair?
It's much better than that
Well, yeah,
chair.
because, I mean, if you listen to the last episode of the Vilest Rag, you would learn that there was a lot of hate behind this original chair.
And it all came from me. I was the only person that hated the chair, really.
I think it's a solid chair. Like, it's not as good as that one, like, per se, but, like, it's solid. Like, I feel like I have good lumbar support.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Although we're not here for my opinions on chairs. We're here for your opinions on chairs. We'll go back to the boring questions now. To learn a little bit more about you, what are you studying? What are you here for? Why are you here? And how long have you been here at Ubyssey?
I am I'm currently in my 4th year at Ubyssey. I am studying general studies in music. So technically my concentration is like voice and like classical singing. But there's a lot of like theory, history, musicology sort of stuff involved in that as well. And then my minor is in informatics, so information library, museum sort of stuff. Yeah.
How did that happen? Music and informatics do not necessarily seem like the best coupling.
Yeah, well, I originally came to Ubyssey to do speech science, and I was in that for up until last year. I was taking linguistics courses. I also took some other things. I took music courses, which was when I decided I wanted to switch, because I was in choir, and I was like, wow, I miss doing this. I miss singing. Decided to switch into opera. Decided to switch out of opera and into general studies in music, because I don't necessarily want to be a performer. I did a lot of like arts reporting. I still do a lot of arts reporting, and would like to hopefully do that as a career at some point. So it kind of helps to have that like performance background, because you understand what goes into making music. Okay. And informatics happened because I needed a minor, and our opinion editor Spencer was like, you would maybe like informatics, and I was like, okay, and then I did that.
And do you like informatics?
I do like informatics. Okay. I have been taking 3 informatics courses this term, and they've been really fun. I really enjoy them. I'm in a digital cultural collections class right now. That's all about like, well, digital cultural collections.
Digital cultural collection.
It's like museums and like digitizing artifacts and other things, and it's really interesting. It's interesting to learn about. It's not something I've ever thought about very much. I'm thinking about a lot of things that never once crossed my mind before, but I'm enjoying it. You weren't on the
digital cultural collections train like everybody else.
No, I wasn't.
You were late to the party.
Yeah. Tough.
That's really unfortunate for you, but at least you're getting it now.
Yeah,
that's helpful.
I'm catching up.
Yeah.
But good suggestion from Spencer, I guess.
Okay.
So that could have gone really badly for me if I hated it.
It could have. Yeah.
So.
I mean, I've taken my share of informatics classes, and not a fan personally, but that's okay.
Which ones?
Well, that's a great question. Which ones? Whichever ones they force us to do for media studies, which is I think like 250 to the one I'm in now is okay. It's just like I kind of like would fall asleep in the lectures because they're like 3 hours long. I didn't talk about digital cultural collections, which was a real like downside to it. But
yeah, you could have taken this class. It is in fact 3 hours long. I had to take, I don't know what I'm forgetting what they were now, but 2 courses that were required for media studies students for informatics.
Oh yeah, those would probably be the ones I took. Positive, negative opinions on those ones?
I think they were actually, I think one of them was an English course and the other was an anthropology course. So
is the English course the Cavell course?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I talked. Well, I think I talked about it on my podcast.
Yeah.
It may or may not exist.
We keep coming back to this course.
Yes, we do. Well, it's my favorite course that I've ever taken. In university.
Oh my god! Wait, people aren't gonna know that yet. Your episode comes out later.
I know.
So
is this a spoiler? Spoiler alert! Oh, bleep that out on the edit.
Don't actually.
We'll get back on track then. Let's not spoil the monumental podcast episode that'll be released in like 3 or 4 weeks. So you talk about you are in music. You're not just doing that for your degree, though, as I found in my hard-hitting research.
Whoa.
You are also in a band.
I am in a band, yeah.
How did you join a band, and what has that been like for you?
I ended up in this band because I knew someone who knew someone else who knew someone else. And we were talking about playing the violin and how I play the violin and how no one needs a violin player outside of like a classical orchestra context, and I had kind of stopped taking lessons and I wasn't really into it as much. And I missed it. I missed playing. And she was like, actually, I'm in a band that needs a violin player. So that's how I ended up in that. I think I started in like my first year maybe, so it's been a few years now. And we recorded an EP that came out earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year, and we went on a small little Western Canada tour this summer, which was really fun. So yeah, it's kind of like indie rock folk sort of stuff. Don't really know how the violin plays into all of that, but
You haven't figured it out
People
yet.
seem to like it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, someday I'll figure out what my job is.
Yeah, hopefully soon, ideally. Yeah. What's the EP called?
I had no say in this name.
It's immediately shooting it down.
No. It's okay, so it's called Love Your Crooked Neighbor with Your Crooked Heart, which is a line from a poem that I'm right now forgetting the name of. And I don't know if I'm a long album title truther, because this makes me think of Chapel Roan's Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. And I've never once said, like, the full name. Well, no, surely I have. But I'm not calling it that. Like, what do you call Love Your Crooked Neighbor with Your Crooked Heart for short? Crooked Neighbor?
Crooked Heart?
Crooked Heart? You gotta pick one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then it's good because then it has the chance to enter into the cultural lexicon, right? You give the fans the opportunity to create the name for it. Of course.
Right? Our many, many one fans.
Yeah. I'm sure that person's having
my parents.
Two fans. They can have a debate on it. One of them's probably a Crooked Heart person. One of them's probably a Crooked Neighbor person.
Maybe. I think they just listen to the music. I don't know if they really have much to say about the title of the EP. Someday.
r/Hope Slide. Let's create it right now. Speaking of Hope Slide, it's the name of your band.
Yes.
One of the big questions that I had coming out of that discovery for me. Were there any other rock slide related names that you considered before coming up with Hope Slide? I.e. Frank Slide, I think would have been my choice.
What's Frank Slide?
Frank Slide was the rock slide that happened in Alberta in 19-something or other, 1920-something, where the mountain destroyed the town of Frank. Was that not in consideration in the research for the name of the band? I
fear the band had the name before I was in the band, so I also didn't really have a say in naming that. But I can take it up with them. We can maybe revisit it. We can take a look at some other rock slides and see if anything's speaking to us.
I mean, if you go on tour, maybe you can customize the rock slide to the province.
Yeah.
So if you're touring in BC, you can stay as Hope Slide.
Yeah.
But did you go to Alberta?
We did go to Alberta.
Then you can become Frank Slide, and it really fits in with the locals.
Okay. Yeah. I will go and find some more slides in other provinces, and I'll get back to you about that. Okay. Yeah.
Stay tuned. Name change incoming. Anyway, why are we here? We're here for the Ubyssey, generally, because that is our job. It's been your job for a while, as I had found out. When did that start, and why did you start writing for the Ubyssey?
Oh, God. Yeah. Okay, I've had a hair stuck to my mouth this whole time, and I don't know if I've been making weird mouth movements, but I've been trying to find it because I knew it was there.
I haven't clocked any weird mouth movements.
I just found it.
Okay.
The question, I don't remember it.
It was the only on-topic question that I've asked so far.
Me at the Ubyssey. Okay, so I did kind of do journalism in high school. I tried to start a student newspaper there. It was kind of hard to run. There were not a lot of people who were super invested in the idea of there being a student newspaper at my high school. So I think it's dead now. But
R.I.P.
It was there for a few years.
What was the name of the newspaper?
I'm gonna dox my high school. NW Student Press. NW being New Westminster, where I grew up. And
well, that's like a whole city.
Also went to school.
You spoke for the city.
Well, not really. We didn't publish many things. Yeah, New West has one high school, which is
really
a little crazy. Yeah, there's
man, Albertan learns things
almost,
on this show.
There's somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 people. It's every high school student in the city. Okay. My graduating class had over 600 people.
Okay, I mean that checks out. Mine did as well in Calgary, but that's one of 20.
New West a lot of people in Calgary.
There is a lot of people in Calgary generally. Yeah.
I've been there once on Hope Slide tour, but it seemed like a nice place.
Should have been Frank Slide tour, but I digress.
Okay.
Well, opinions on Calgary, so I can get mad if you say you don't like it.
Great public art. Really good public art. I'm not usually a huge public art guy. Don't cancel me. But I think Vancouver just doesn't have a lot of it. We aren't really willing to invest a lot of resources into it, so it's kind of sad.
As you could see in a recent feature piece written by Elena Massing.
Whoa, yeah. We'll probably mention it at some point in this episode.
Maybe it's already been mentioned.
But Calgary has like great murals. It's like so beautiful. Yes. Anyways, love Calgary.
Bluesky City.
Is that what it's called?
As of recently. Previously, it was the like gateway to the New West or something.
New West.
Whoa! Look at all the connections we're making. This is crazy.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Really. I don't think you answered why you started writing for the Ubyssey.
Okay, yeah. And then because I was doing that, and I ultimately decided to go to Ubyssey, I was like, I'll probably meet people at the student newspaper. I didn't really know many people going here, and I was like, I should probably go and find a way to socialize. So I sent a keener email to our arts and culture editor of however many years ago that was, when I was in my first year. So 4 years ago. And I was like, hey, I want to write for you. This was in like July or August, like far too early to be doing all that. But I sent an email and I'm like, I need you to let me write for you. And they were like, yeah, okay. Sure. So I wrote my first piece in September of my first year and wrote a few other things in that term. I became senior staff in second term of that year. And I started as arts and culture editor in my second year. Did that for my second and third year. Now I'm features editor.
Right.
And
were you arts and culture editor or were you just culture editor?
I was just culture editor. It was not called arts and culture before.
Yeah.
But we were changing a few names of positions this year. And I was like, you know what? It's really weird that it's just called culture. Yeah. Because I feel like arts and culture are kind of two different things. And
is art not part of culture?
It's part of culture, but I feel like arts is its own focus within arts and culture. Culture I see as more like not necessarily like lifestyle stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of event reporting we do that falls outside of like concerts or exhibits or whatever. So I think the name had to be changed. It's like sports and recreation, arts and culture. They're the same thing if you really think about it.
Really, yeah. I mean, I wrote my first piece for culture, so I'm...
What was your first piece?
It was, again, this is spoilers for my podcast episode, but my first piece was a review of the documentary film The Grisly Truth.
Right. It's kind of embarrassing that I don't remember that.
I mean...
I didn't edit it, so... Or did I?
My podcast...
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
You don't even remember if you edited it. That's a real shame.
Oh, God.
Anyway, as I'm being forgotten. So, like you said, you were culture editor. Just culture editor for 2 years, 3 years. I've lost track of time. 2 years. Okay, yes. Fantastic. Why the hell are you in features now? What happened?
Well, I really liked writing for our then science, now research section.
Another branding change.
I had done a little bit of. Had I done news? I did like elections one year, which was kind of fun, but I'm not a huge news guy. I really liked doing like longer form reporting, so I was like, features seems like a section where I can write about a whole bunch of different topics and use a lot of words and no one will get mad at me. So that's how I ended up there. I like spending a lot of time on a story. I love like a review or an event report that's kind of a quicker turnaround, but the things I always had the most fun doing were the kind of pieces that we usually published in like supplements or special issues where you could sort of branch out a bit more. I had written a feature on, I think my very first feature was one on how Ubyssey childcare centers are like indigenizing their teaching and practices, and I had a lot of fun doing that. I just like the process of putting together a long article, and I want to help other people do that as well. Yeah. Also, features seemed like the section where they would maybe let me start a podcast, and they did.
it worked.
Yeah, I was floating the podcast idea for like definitely at least a year before it actually started. It started as a joke, and I was like, "Ooh, Ubyssey podcast," but it was never a joke.
That's how everything starts, real. Right? Yeah. You first get it in as a joke, and then it becomes legitimized, and now I'm sitting in a red chair with a microphone.
My red chair, actually.
Yeah. Not for long.
It's so over. People are going to watch this episode, and they're going to be like, wow, he's so much better than that other guy.
That other guy, yeah. Such a shame, really.
It's fine.
No, it's okay. I'll give the chair back eventually. You might have to wait a couple days, but that's okay.
Okay.
Speaking of podcasts, you said you wanted to do it for a long time, a year perhaps. Why was that? Why were you like Ubyssey podcast, good combo?
People just aren't really reading anymore. Who would have guessed?
What am I doing here?
People just aren't really reading as much, which is its own problem. But I think a lot of people are kind of gravitating toward audio content because they don't like reading. And not that I want to encourage that, but I think we were kind of missing something in the way of like multimedia content, and we've been trying to incorporate a lot more video and audio and other stuff into our reporting. And I think this was it was a gap that needed to be filled. And I like talking. I like talking a lot. And we've been going for a long time. I've been doing a lot of it.
Yeah.
So podcast. I love listening to podcasts also. I'm a really big fan of the CBC Uncover podcast. They've done like a whole bunch of like investigative ones that are really cool. There was a really recent one called, was it recent? I actually don't remember, but it was called Sea of Lies, and it's so good. It's so freaking good. So if you're looking for a podcast to listen to, go check that out.
After this one.
This one's not that we're doing any like hard-hitting investigative podcasts yet, but maybe someday.
Yeah, maybe this is an investigative podcast.
Investigation into
the features editor.
The province's landslides.
This is also true. Yeah, it all comes together, really. All forms a story. Okay. You kind of clocked my other question with talking about the podcast that you liked, throwing me entirely off my game. Let's get back to features. I think a good potential question to ask, if I do say so myself, what the hell is a feature? Because every other section, it's kind of self-evident what they are. If you didn't know, I'm the sports and rec editor. People know what sports are generally. Arts and culture, people know what that is. But a feature can be a lot of things. So what, to you, is a feature?
There are sort of like three main written forms that fall under features. We do profiles, which are on one person, sort of talking about their life and achievements. Sometimes they can include more sources, like people who are in the lives of the subject of the profile. But usually it's just focusing on one person, one interview, and going super in-depth into how they got to where they are. We also do Q&As, which are Q's and A's, with a person sort of about their life or about another topic that they specialize in. And then there are extended reports, which are long-form writing, sort of more magazine style a lot of the time. Like, think like Walrus, Narwhal, New Yorker, Atlantic. Just picking a topic and going really in-depth into it. And there is usually some element that makes it timely to when we are writing it, but for the most part, they're pretty evergreen pieces that hold their ground longer than the average event report. So yeah, does that answer? What am I forgetting? I wrote a whole guide about this where I explained how everything works, but now I'm forgetting how everything works. But those are the three main things. Okay.
No, I think that covers it. Because I know, well, you talked about, you have your profiles, you have your Q&As. I feel like the extended reports are kind of what people think of as features, hey? Yeah. Those are kind of the big ones.
It's also what people seem to get the most confused about, because an extended report isn't necessarily just a long article. Like, you can have a long news article that talks to a bunch of sources about a specific event, but an extended report is maybe looking back over time and looking at patterns, or like taking a bunch of different things and comparing them. Like, you can talk about one specific event within an extended report, but it is ultimately going to be bigger than that. It's not just a bunch of interviews about that one thing.
So the name's a little confusing. It's not the fact that it's extended that's the defining factor.
Yeah. We like to say history of the present when we're talking about wait, hear me out.
This is a concept. Okay. History of the present.
We both like
as soon as history of the present gets mentioned.
I actually, I shouldn't have brought that up because I don't really know how to explain it. But it's like kind of taking a current issue, like, I don't know, and university funding or like funding research, and looking back at like what that has looked like over time, what kind of events have led us to where we are now. They're not all historical, but often they do pull from other things and draw them in to relate them to one main issue.
And I guess even if it's not historical, it's kind of like based on context, hey? Like, you draw from a bunch of different places, maybe not, and they maybe don't necessarily all have to be from the same time exactly. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly like linear or historical, hey?
Yeah.
Right, but it's like you're pulling those threads.
Yeah. Just me at a corkboard, red yarn. Yeah. Always, every day.
If you're a conspiracy theorist, apply for features. Is the
right. For sure.
Put that on the application. So, extended reports. They are what you do, generally. When you're looking at an extended report, are some of the criteria for you to say, this is solid, this is good, this is perhaps fantastic?
I think storytelling is the most important part for me, because the actual reporting process is generally the same as other sections. Like, you're mostly working with interviews, you're doing background research, you're pulling stuff from other sources that are not interviews. But I think what is special about not just extended reports, but I guess like profiles and features more generally, is how you have so many more words and you have a lot more room to take creative liberty with things, and you kind of need to if you want to get people to read more words. So I think like a strong narrative voice and figuring out how to weave sources together in a way that makes sense and that's engaging to read. Like, I think what a lot of people struggle with the most in extended reports is actually finding a story, because you have so much material to work with. So the way I go about it is I do all my interviews. I go into some of these interviews with maybe not a completely concrete idea of what the story actually will be. I love to go into interviews with like very minimal prepared questions, as we know, and I kind of just like to talk and follow up on things that seem interesting and come up with what the story is as I go. And then I take all of these interviews and I listen back to all of them and I take notes on everything, and then I put all of my interviews side by side and I try to find like patterns between them and things that people are saying that directly like complement each other or contradict each other, and structure them based on that. I kind of hate when things go like source, and there's like no actual sort of thought put behind where you're putting certain people's ideas. I guess I can't talk too much because the piece I wrote that came out like literally today kind of does that. But I tried to make it a bit more engaging and incorporate people's ideas in places that made sense. But there was just a lot to work with. At a certain point, it kind of just had to be in like very distinct sections. But that's a long-winded way of saying storytelling, I think, is the most important part of a good extended report. I guess publications that I like the most, The New Yorker, of course. I feel like that's kind of an obvious choice. The New Yorker is always a good place to go for those.
What makes The New Yorker good?
Ones? What makes them good? I like how much say the author has in things. I feel like the author's voice is really distinct in most New Yorker pieces, because that's hard to do at a student newspaper, because we're students. We don't really necessarily have much authority over anything yet. The New Yorker can obviously get like super like experienced, talented reporters. Not that we don't have talented reporters.
You're not going to find any of that
but
here. Just kidding. We're good.
Very experienced reporters who can put more of their own say and their own voice and their own experiences and things, and have something to say in that way. We sort of have to fall back on like finding sources who have interesting things to say and not necessarily our own perspectives as much. But I think in the New Yorker, a lot of it comes from the author and who they are. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. And it's almost like the voice comes through not just in what they say, but in how they tell the story and how passionate they are about it, right? Like, people are only going to go so far with something they're not actively interested in. And when you have something in the story, then you're able to connect it a little bit more.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
I guess something I've been trying to move away from that I feel like has always been kind of a prominent structure in our reporting is using a lot of like big blocks of quoted material. It's kind of just like paragraph, quote, paragraph, other quote. And we haven't really taken a lot of liberty in how we're actually like structuring things on a sentence level. And we've kind of been afraid of paraphrasing and finding other ways to say what our sources have said. And I think that's something the New Yorker does well. They had this, oh no, this was the Walrus. I'm going to mention it anyways though, but there was this piece called The Death of a Middle-Class Musician that I think came out a few months ago, and was like a big inspiration in the approach I wanted to take to features and how I would be shifting stuff around, because they incorporate the sources really well in that piece. There's also this piece from The Local on J.D. Vance's role in like a small town Ontario election. I'm now forgetting the name, but that one is a great one for like storytelling and how they sort of like map everything out. I am forgetting the title, but find me in the Ubyssey office and I'll tell you what the name of this piece is.
J.D. Vance in Ontario.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Any J.D. Vance pieces coming up from you in the feature section?
I fear not. No. But, I don't know. Maybe if he had some role in AMS elections.
Whoa.
That's something
Let's not give him any ideas.
Yeah. But everything we publish needs to vaguely have a UBC connection, so I don't think he will be making any appearances anytime soon.
Of course, now that you say that. That'll probably
happen. God. Knock on wood. I hope that's wood.
If not, we're screwed. What you've kind of mentioned a lot of different feature pieces that you've enjoyed. What is I'm only going to let you pick one. I'm not going to let you squirrel away by listing like 7 different articles. But what is your favorite feature that you've read?
That I've read?
Yep. Hard-hitting questions. It could be in the Ubyssey. It could be elsewhere.
Okay, I feel like this isn't actually my favorite, and I'm gonna remember something after this and be kicking myself because I can't think of it right now. But there was this piece published in the Narwhal, actually, I think earlier this year, on like sexual violence in like tree planting in like rural areas and like the experiences of women who were working in this industry. And it was really interesting. It was really well written and just something that I had no idea was a problem.
How do you come up with that
So
topic?
I think that kind of stuck with me, and it had really cool visuals as well. They had like drone shots and stuff. I wish we had a drone, but
can the Ubyssey finance a drone?
I feel like maybe not. I don't quite know what we would do with it. But
there's plenty
maybe
we could
for
do with a drone.
sports.
Yes, absolutely, we could use a drone for sports. The pitch for a drone from the Ubyssey. If you donate to the Ubyssey, which we should make that a thing.
Yeah,
people can donate money to give us a drone. We can use drones for cool visuals for features. We can use drones for sports. This would be a great overall investment. I'm losing the plot. But with that's a very cool idea for a piece. I feel like with features, it's always very interesting because it's almost like you have every possible element of it, right? Where you have the storytelling, you have kind of the standpoint aspect of it where there's a personal like side to it often, but then you also have like, I feel like with a lot of features pieces, and not even just in like the New Yorker, I mean, like I'm a sports guy, but like a lot of something like The Athletic is considered like kind of the high standard for that because they have plenty of like sports features, and it's always like these kind of interesting topics that like you read, like obviously the article is great, but you read the headline, it's like, well, I wish I had thought of that idea. Like that's a fantastic idea. It's a fascinating form. Hey,
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah. Features is just so hard to think of things for sometimes because you can kind of do anything if you think hard enough.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't think hard enough.
Well, sometimes you have thought hard about a feature. Great transition.
Sometimes I have thought.
Sometimes you have thought.
Just one. Just one.
Just one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this will make this next question very easy if it's only just one. What is your favorite feature that you've ever written?
That I've ever written? Oh, it's the piece that came out like earlier today, or was it yesterday?
Today.
It was today. Today.
As of the time you're hearing this, 3 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Today
you have to place it in time for the
Monday.
audience, and we can't give away our recording schedule. Well,
I just gave it away.
Out the window. People know where we are.
Well, today's
now.
Monday, and it's coming out, or it came out earlier today. And it's on the Vancouver arts and culture industry and how things aren't looking great for them. It talks a lot about the VSO strike that happened just last month and the month before that. It talks to people who are like at the heads of a bunch of arts organizations in Vancouver, like from the Fringe Festival, a comedy gallery in Gastown, Redgate, one of Vancouver's like DIY music venues. Who else? Oh, and it's about the Cultural Land Trust, which is sort of an idea by a nonprofit in Vancouver talking about like how artists are using space and how they don't have access to a lot of good spaces that are right for what they do. Yeah, it's very public finance-y. Probably the most I'll ever write about funding in a piece, because that's not generally something I'm interested in writing about in great detail, but arts are important.
It was a good crossover, right? I mean, former culture editor writing about arts and culture in a feature.
It took a very, very long time.
How long did this one take? Was this something from like the start of your time as features editor you were working on?
No. I think I started this at the beginning of August.
Okay.
I started doing interviews. I was doing interviews into October. That was the main chunk of work. I think I actually like wrote the piece in like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy because it ended up being like 6,500 words.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of took over like an entire weekend of my life, and it was terrible and horrible, but I think the piece turned out okay.
Yeah,
so
but it was worth it though.
It was worth it. Yeah.
So that's the great thing about features journalism is you'll potentially like kill yourself for a couple days while you're writing it, but then you come out and it's something great. Yeah.
Now you see a normal person would spread this out and maybe approach it in manageable chunks, but I can't do it. I just have to sit down and write things all at once.
Yeah. No, that makes so much sense to me. You have to, I mean, the way that I wrote the one, I've done 2 things for, the better one.
The Vanier one?
Yes. The one.
Not saying that is better than something else. That one's really good though.
That one's okay. That one's okay.
I think it's in my manual actually. as a thing that people should look at
Oh,
for good extended
let's
reports.
go. Look
See,
at that.
you are
I'm
memorable.
getting except for my entire podcast episode, which has been memory hold. No, but like with that one, the way that I did that was in conjunction. This is all coming full circle with a project that I had to do for my Info 250 class, linking back to the start of the episode. Yeah, look at that. I was taking over the AMS social media feed.
Oh my god, Nest. In the Nest.
And I
yes,
stayed
I
in the
remember
Nest
this well.
for the entire operating hours of the Nest, which is from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And I was filming like a Instagram, TikTok kind of video where I like couldn't leave. That's when I wrote that piece, as I was just in the Nest the entire time. And in the video, I'm like, oh, I'm studying. No, I'm not. I'm writing this like monstrosity.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Deep cut.
Yeah. Me lore.
I love that video. It brings me a lot of joy.
That was a fun one. Mm-hmm. There are a couple other ones in the archives of that account that are solid. The one of me eating blue chip cookies, that one doesn't look great on me, because I said that I would eat I think like 12 blue chip cookies in a sitting, and I learned that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think you say yeah like it's self-evident, but it wasn't. I thought that I could, like I thought I could, but then they're really large if you don't know, and I
kind of clock out after like 3/4 of a cookie. I think I'm not a huge cookie guy in general. I'm not a huge desserts guy. I'm more of like a
getting
salty
yourself canceled
snack
35
guy.
Minutes into your podcast episode. Not okay. A cookie guy.
They'll all like cancel out with how many times I'm getting. Wait, cancel it. The puns, they're just coming to me. Yeah. Wait, what? What were we talking about?
That you're not a cookie guy.
I'm not.
That you hate happiness and joy.
No.
Generally.
Yeah.
Not even going to defend yourself.
Oh my god, we talk about this in yours too,
yes, we
but
do.
With pie.
Yes.
Okay. Well. It's
such a horrible opinion, she can't even find a way to defend it. Anyway. Let's forget about that, because that was abhorrent. A couple last questions for you here.
Finally, it's ending.
Well, anyway, that's it for today. No, I've saved my hardest hitting questions for the end.
Okay.
Okay, so this is an actual, like, legitimate question, unlike the other ones I've asked. So, talking about features, you kind of brought it up earlier, but I think one of the challenges with features is that, like, inherently with extended reports, they are quite long. But I feel like, and I don't feel this way, but a lot of kind of our generation broadly is kind of, there's a move towards like, oh, people don't have the attention span to read that much, or people prefer short form content, or like if it's not delivered to me in 60 seconds, then like don't show it to me at all. For you, with that kind of in mind, what is the value in having these long form stories? For people who are kind of used to that short form culture, where should they be finding value in these longer form stories?
I think it doesn't make sense to change the entire way we're doing things just because some people aren't going to engage with the content. Because there are still people out there who will read an entire long form piece. And I'm not going to change to short content just because some people don't like it. Because, I don't know, like I wish all people would engage with our stuff and be interested in longer reporting, but that's not realistic for like anything. No one's gonna like everything. But maybe this is just because I come from like an arts and culture background where it's sort of like more character and like storytelling oriented, but I always loved like going into a lot of detail in a piece about like a room I was in and describing how I felt when I was in this room and whatever, which is not necessarily something you might see in a news piece. Assuming people are going to shorter content because they want something more immediately. I think I care a lot about the actual experience of reading something and how it's able to transport me into the world that they're laying out. Like, I think that's fun. I enjoy that. I think there are other people out there that enjoy that. And I think that's something you get in features where we have a lot of time to explain who these sources are and what their stories are and where they're coming from, and like explain events in great detail and make people feel immersed in the world that we're laying out for them. Because there's this video I showed to my writers kind of recently by David Remnick from The New Yorker on the idea of like immersion journalism and why people dedicate a lot of time to stories, and why they want to make people feel immersed in this world and spend more than 15 minutes on it. Yeah. And I don't know, it's just fun. It's entertaining to read. I think there's value in seeing more depth to a story than you would get if you just got the main events and the main rundown.
It connects with people on a deeper level, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah. I think so, because I mean, like, even with the arts and culture piece you talked about, like, I mean, even in reading that, like, you probably could have conveyed the same information broadly in a news report, talking generally about that.
You just say the arts have no money.
Yeah, and then there you go, and you figured it out. But it's kind of the intangibles of it, right? Kind of that ineffable quality to it, where and that's where the value is. And I think it's a lot harder to kind of sell that because you can't put a name on it always, but it is that immersion quality to it. And I think that's something that's really important. And I know, like, even in sports, that's something we've tried to do a little bit more in extending our report, because, well, yes, it takes a little bit longer to read, and yes, it's a little bit bulkier. Like, I think there's so much more value that can be added by taking the time to have that extra detail and taking the time to really immerse readers into that. So yeah, features is really cool. Hey,
thanks. Yeah. I think sports are cool.
Let's go. Okay, so we've talked a lot today, generally.
Yeah, but the real reason for the pauses in this is because we had to literally cut the cameras twice.
We were just on
such overheating.
A roll that the cameras started overheating. Fire. How good the content is. But unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end.
No.
So I think this is this is probably my last question, unless I really get going on another heater. But no, this is my last question, and this is a question you might be familiar with, and it's one that I feel like I totally bombed in my interview, because I had no idea what to say. Unfortunately, you've probably been able to think about it. And my question is, if you could switch places with somebody on editorial for a day, who would it be and why?
My truth is I haven't thought about it, and that was a skill issue on my part. But now that I'm thinking about it,
it's a very hard question.
I think I would switch places with you.
Let's go. So I've also been tallying how many people get the count for who gets to switch places. Everybody else is at 1 currently, and now I'm up to 2. So I've taken the lead in the standings. I'm curious to hear why. The other reason was because I was a mascot. So.
Oh, it's not because of that. That actually sounds like a terrible, horrible experience that I never want to go through. But I think sports hold a very special place in my heart, somewhere in there. I played ringette for like 10 to somewhere between 10 to 12 years growing up.
Oh, wow.
For anyone who doesn't know, it's like ice hockey, but not. It has slightly different rules. It is sick. Yeah. But I would love to like write about hockey, except I don't really understand it, and so I've never really actually tried to do it because recaps look so hard to write, and I don't know what to do, and I'm scared.
They're fun.
But maybe someday. So I would love to see what your job is like. I feel like you also, I guess you do this for culture as well. When I was doing that, but you go to so many things and you get to see so many games and just, I don't know, it seems great. It seems like a great time.
Yeah.
Also, your section meetings are right after mine, so sometimes I hear bits and pieces of them, and you're just like a great speaker. You are so entertaining to listen to, and I feel like you have so many valuable things to say. So I would love to I would love to get inside your head and...
Do you?
I'm actually not sure now. But
sick and twisted things that go on up there.
Yeah. Oh. Oh God. I think you're very good at what you do. So
thank you.
I would be you.
Oh. Now I feel bad I didn't say I would be you.
It's okay. I'm not taking it personally.
Damn.
No one said me yet, but it's fine. I think it's just I love to say what I think and what I'm feeling, and so I feel like everyone experiences what's going on in my head whether they want to or not, so they maybe don't really care to.
They don't need the experience.
They don't need that.
Okay.
They get it already.
Okay. But I mean, that could be something that would be fun to experience.
Maybe. Well,
I'd like to be features editor for a day. That would be fun. Trying to make up for lost time with what my answer was previously.
You published a feature in this print issue that's happening. It's basically a feature.
Yeah, it is basically a feature.
Yeah. Extended report, rugby.
Yes, rugby extended report.
It's awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
You have been features editor for a day. I have been
features editor for a day. Yesterday, in fact, I suppose. Yeah, that was a good one. You should read our latest print issue, because rugby is cool. And so is ringette, as we learned. Did you ever do, I don't know if this is just like a very niche Calgary gym class thing. Did you ever do ringette on the gym floor? Like, because I know ringette, like, usually like an ice thing. Yeah. Typically. But do you ever do it where you have like the ringette sticks, but they're just like fake plastic, and then you have plastic rings, and then you go whip those around the gym for an hour? It
wasn't a formal thing, but once I was like, this was in like elementary school. I was like, can I teach our gym class ringette? And our teacher was like, sure, why not? So we just took the floor hockey sticks and we just flipped them upside down. Okay. But they had like a rubber
they have the little
top,
knob. Yeah.
So that didn't really do the things
great.
We needed it to do.
Yeah. But we had like specialized ringette sticks, and it would have a little thing at the end to make it easy. And the nice thing about like hockey, you need a little bit of like a little bit more kind of dexterity to like really whip it. And you still need like obviously some of that to like be more precise with it. But because it's kind of more of like a slingshot type thing, especially on that gym floor, you can whip that thing and murder a fifth grader.
And like, a lot more of it is in like the wrist movement. Yeah. You don't really, well, I mean, you still need to be able to use strength,
it's a lot more of like a flick of the wrist. Yeah. And the thing goes flying.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
That was what I thought ringette was, just that for like 10 years of my life. And then I learned that it was skating. Wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. It's much more fun on ice.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Are we going to have, I know in another episode we talked about bringing back the Ubyssey dodgeball team, Ubyssey ringette team, potentially?
Yes. In fact, I am going to get moving on this next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
We'll have an update in the next episode of the Vilest Rag. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Ubyssey ringette team.
Ubyssey ringette team. Speaking of the next episode of the Vilest Rag, that'll be what happens next, because we'll be ending this episode of the podcast.
Much to our chagrin.
Much to our chagrin.
And to Saumya's joy.
This is true. As I went off into a separate ringette tangent, I was getting the glares. But no, all good things have to end. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you also for doing this. For letting me wrangle you into doing the interview, so I didn't have to sit here and talk alone.
We should do that though. So just have you sitting in a chair for an hour and asking yourself questions and see what happens.
Yeah.
No. Once we run through the editorial board, that's the next episode. You can't book
all
somebody.
Of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Just me here.
Yeah. That would be solid. I'd listen.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if it gets to that point.
We'll see. We'll see if they cancel it after this episode. Who knows? Anyway, that was Elena Massing, our features editor here at the Ubyssey. You can join us next episode to meet another member of our editorial staff. I have no concept of who it is. I don't think it's me, so see you later, people. Coming up in a few seconds, we will have our next edition of Since 1918, where you can learn more about a moment in Ubyssey's history with our columnist, Quyen Schroeder.
Cast yourselves back to 1918. Women get the right to vote in federal elections, World War I ends, and the Ubyssey publishes her first issue. Or does she? This segment is called Since 1918. It says Since 1918 on our website, and in the top right corner of our print newspapers. But is this actually true? Has the Ubyssey been published since 1918? Well, the first issue published under the name the Ubyssey was in 1918. It was funded by a $2 fee through the AMS, and it was published every Thursday. But if we cast ourselves back even further to 1916, the year that Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta were the first provinces to give women the right to vote, we're halfway through World War I, and oxycodone is first synthesized. The year before that, Ubyssey officially opened, temporarily located in the former headquarters of the McGill University College facilities here in Vancouver. Right after, in 1915, our lovely student union, the AMS, was founded. And the AMS created a news publication called The Anon, which presumably was short for The Anonymous, which its name was quickly changed to. And then it was changed once again to the Ubyssey, spelled Ubycee. These previous publications, the Anon, the Anonymous, and the Ubyssey, were published monthly, but there were problems in its reception, mostly that they were entirely composed of stories, skits, and poems, and not actually much news, which is not ideal for a newspaper. And again, all of this started happening in 1916, not 1918. But in 1917, the AMS added that $2 fee per session that was for the publication itself, turning it from a monthly publication into a weekly publication. And with that fee, the Ubyssey changed from the spelling Ubycee to the Ubyssey that you know and love today. Since 1918, the Ubyssey has gone through a couple publication schedules. For a time there, it was a daily paper, and there was lots of time where it was either weekly or twice weekly. I'm personally a twice weekly enjoyer myself. And now we publish a print issue bi-weekly or monthly during the summer, and our website updates roughly every day at ubyssey.ca, or a secret link for you cool people, ubyssey.ca. Yeah, I realize, having done 4 episodes of this, that this segment deserves a sign-off, because I would like to say a sign-off. So this has been Since 1916, Since 1918.
In today's episode of the Vilest Rag, you heard from myself, Elena Massing, the Ubyssey's features editor, AMS columnist Quyen Schroeder, and also sports and rec editor Caleb Peterson, who very graciously stepped in to host this episode. This episode was filmed and edited by Saumya Kamra, the music is by Alicia Chaudhry, and the graphics were designed by Ayla Cilliers. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.